Hi, this is Jennifer from SimpleScrapper.com. I wanted to do a quick tutorial today to show you how to use one of our layered templates. The layout you see on the screen is a digital layout I created a few months ago using a template that I created for SimpleScrapper. Here's what the template looks like. Templates come as grayscale layered files that can be used in Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. And let's just get started and you can see how it works. You can see here over on the right is the Layers panel, and this is common for both Photoshop and Photoshop Elements. The Layers panel is the most important thing for you to understand in understanding how to use a layered template, because you want to make sure that each piece you want to add, your papers and your embellishments, go in the right place. So to get started, the first thing I want to do is I always hide all of the embellishments and little doodads on my layout. So I'm going to click here on this placeholder for the title, and click this little eyeball to turn off the visibility. I'm going to do that again for the journaling, and again for this little block of embellishments. Most templates come with these kind of placeholders for embellishments and journaling and titles and some other types of doodads, and these are the intent here is that you replace these with items from the digital kit you want to work with. So now we're left with a nice clean slate to add your digital papers and your photo. I like to start with the photo first because this kind of guides me in the direction of which types of products I want to use. So to add my photo, I click on the layer, and this highlights it in the Layers panel. And this is going to make sure that my photo goes in the layer directly above that black box there. So to add the photo, I go to File, Place. My photos are all here on my desktop. I moved them here just for this demonstration. And I'm going to pick my photo and select Place. Now you can see the photo is quite large, larger than that box. But if you look in the Layers panel, you can see that it's above the layer of that black box where we want to put the photo. I'm going to zoom out here briefly because I like to see the full scene of things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor on the bottom right hand corner of my box, and I'm going to press the Alt key and scale my picture smaller. I want to get it to just a little bit wider than the shape of that box. And then I press Enter, or that little green check mark, to commit the change in size. So now I'll move my photo up to above about where I think this black box is. And then here's the important thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my keyboard and I'm going to hit Command G, or if you're on a PC, it's Control G. And see how it fit it just to the shape of that box? Now I'm still on this layer with the photo, and that means I can move it around every which way to get it to just the right spot that I want it in this box. So I like it just like that. So this premise here, this idea of using Command or Control G to clip, that's what it's called, this is called clipping an image to a layer below, is the #1 skill you need to have to use a layered template. So let's try it again. This time we're just going to add a background paper. So I'm going to select that layer. See, I'm here on the background. I'm going to File, Place, and then I'm going to pick this orange piece of paper and edit. So I'm going to press Enter to commit. So you can see that that's been placed as the background. Now if you want your added layer, this paper here, to take up the whole screen, I don't need to do Control or Command G because it's the same size as the background. But if we want to use one of these other shapes, let's do this one here. This is this background color here. We'll try it again. So File, Place. I'm going to click the red paper and Place. And you can see it covers the whole screen. And this time I'm going to do Command G to clip it to the box. It's easy as that. We have a couple more here. When I do digital scrapbooking, I like to combine solid type of papers and pattern papers. And generally I like to add the solid papers first to kind of make sure those coordinate well with the photo and make sure that kind of I've set the scene for how I want to design this page. So next I'm going to pick a green pattern paper, File, Place, commit the paper to the page, Command G to clip it to the box. Okay, we have one more paper here. File, place. This is a little dotted paper. Commit the paper to the page by pressing Enter on your keyboard and do Command G or Control G on your PC to clip it to the box. So there we have the perfect foundation for our scrapbook page. And there's many pages that you can create where all you need to do is add a text box with some journaling, maybe a little title, and that's all you need. On this page I chose to add quite a few bit more adornments. We're going to make quite an embellished page here. You can have it as simple or as complex as you want, but it's all using the same principles over and over again. Go back to our layout here. So to finish off this tutorial, I'm just going to show you how to add 2 more embellishments to the page. Now, when I'm adding embellishments, I want to make sure they're going, generally speaking, on top of all of these papers and photos I have here in the background. So I'm going to click the item that's in the top of the stack, because you have to remember these are layers starting from the bottom and going up, kind of like a sandwich. So my photo's on top. I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to pick this ribbon and I'm going to place it to the page. So we have this nice little rainbow ribbon, and you can see it's quite a bit wider. I don't really want it to go across the whole page. And so I'm going to put my cursor on the bottom right hand corner, select the Alt button again, and then I'm going to size it down to just the width of my little secondary background here. I'm going to move it down, still a little bit wide, just so I can be a little more detailed. I'm going to zoom in one, and I'm just going to make it a hair smaller here. There we go. That's nice. But it's looking a little flat. So this is where I'm going to show you very briefly how to add a drop shadow. So I have my layer selected, this ribbon right here in the layers panel. You can select it by clicking it in the layers or clicking it on your screen. And then I'm going to get up here to the effects panel where it says drop shadows. And I always just start, I click the low drop shadow because it's the least offensive, least weird drop shadow, and I click apply. But that's quite harsh. That doesn't really look really realistic. So what I'm going to do is click this little blue FX button and bring up the style settings for this drop shadow. And I'm going to change the settings. So for this one, I'm going to use 10 for my distance, 10 for size, 8 for distance, and 75 for the opacity. Now for fairly flat, like cardstock or flat ribbon type of embellishments, I generally use things between a setting of 10-6-60 or 10-8-75. And then this one I chose 10-8-75. So there we go. So now you can see that's quite a bit less harsh and looks nice on the page. So to finish off here, I'm going to add just one more embellishment. I'm going to go to File, Place, and add the star. Oops, where did it go? So sometimes you may find that you're in the bottom of the layers palette and you've hidden your embellishment all the way beneath a bunch of papers and you don't want it there. All you have to do is highlight the layer and drag it up to where you want it in the layer sequence of layers. So there, I dragged it to the top, just like that. I'm going to put this embellishment down here in the left-hand corner. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, just a hair. And this will be a series of embellishments that I add to this page. I'm going to hang it off a little bit, and then I'll commit it. Like the ribbon, it's a little bit flat, so I'll add a quick drop shadow, effects panel, low, apply, just to get a shadow there to start working with. I click the blue FX button, and I'm going to change the settings. On this one, because it's a little bit more of a dimensional embellishment, I want to make it pop a little more. So I'm going to make the settings 14, 12, and 75. Now drop shadows, it's an art to get it to the way you feel it looks realistic, and there's no perfect settings at all. So I like to play with them until I find things that I'm comfortable with. So in this one, we have 14, 12, 75, and We have a nice embellishment that looks like it's sticking off the page, maybe with some pop dots if you were talking about paper scrapbooking. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching this tutorial from simplescrapper.com. Again, this is Jennifer, and have a great weekend.